Donald Trump is predicting that he will be indicted and arrested sometime this week, once again by special counsel Jack Smith, but this time over the 2020 election. I'll get into basically Donald Trump's True Social post and what does this really mean for the 2024 election and how this is another attempt by the left to attack their political opponent. Then Tucker Carlson interviewed Andrew Tate, and it really shows you why the left who hate masculinity hated Andrew Tate so much and why so many young men and boys looked up to him. Lastly, a California assembly member is speaking out about race-based criminal sentencing. I'm Solo, this is the Solo Show. So, according to a Daily Wire, Trump expects to be arrested, indicted by special counsel Jack Smith in the 2020 election. Former President Donald Trump said Tuesday he has been informed by special counsel Jack Smith that he is a criminal target of a Washington, D.C. grand jury investigating his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Trump announced on True Social that he said he's got a target letter Sunday night in which Smith's office offered him the opportunity to appear before the grand jury this week. The development indicates another indictment could be on the way, although it does not say what charges Trump would face. He is under indictment in Manhattan in connection with alleged hush money payments to Stormy Daniels, and in Florida, where Smith's office accuses him of mishandling sensitive documents. Trump posts to Truth Social, deranged Jack Smith, the prosecutor with Joe Biden's DOJ, sent a letter, again, it was Sunday night, stating that I am a target of the January 6th grand jury investigation and giving me a very short 4 days to report to the grand jury, which almost always means an arrest and indictment. Smith was appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland in November to investigate both Trump's handling of sensitive documents and his alleged efforts to overturn the election. The Washington grand jury is believed to be looking into Trump's conduct in the time between 2020 election and January 6, 2021. The grand jury meeting in Washington's E. Barrett Prettyman U.S. courthouse is believed to have heard from Trump's vice president, Mike Pence, as well as Pence's former chief of staff, Mark Short, former director of the Office of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, while White House lawyers, Patrick and Pat, and several others. Smith is believed to be focused on Trump's efforts to block certification of electoral votes and not the speech he gave at the ellipse just before the riot broke out at the Capitol. Although Democrats on the House January 6th committee blamed the speech for causing the riot, Trump explicitly told the crowd to be peaceful and later tweeted to advise the protesters to go home. A hearing in the classified documents criminal case is scheduled for Tuesday before Florida District Judge Aileen Cannon. Trump's lawyers have moved to delay the case until after the 2024 election while Smith's team is seeking to proceed. In addition to the indictments, Trump is also under investigation in Georgia for his alleged attempt to overturn Biden's narrow peach state victory in 2020. Despite the mounting legal troubles, Trump leads a large Republican primary for the 2024 GOP presidential nomination. A Morning Consult poll published Tuesday has Trump at 55%, followed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis at 20%, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy at 8%, and Pence at 7%. So, what you might be asking is, so what is he going to be charged for exactly? We do not know that exactly until he goes down to Washington, D.C. and goes to the courthouse, and they'll basically say you're going to be indicted on X, Y, and Z, and then most likely arrest him where he then will be bonded out. And this is just another attack of the current political front runner from the other side of the Democrats. So two things can be true at once. The first being January 6th was a horrible day. No one should have gone into the Capitol and stood there for as long as they did. I believe it was only a few hours, 4 hours. Only one person died on January 6th. Let's that be clear, and it was a protester. But they were rather peaceful, and they didn't do as much as the media portrayed them to be doing. In politics, people have a very short memory. If we look back just 4 years, or no, now it's almost 8 years ago, in 2016, when Donald Trump was elected, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats said the 2016 election was illegitimate because Trump won. A Washington Post published, I believe it was 2019. Hillary Clinton dismissed President Trump as an illegitimate president and suggested that he knows that he stole the 2016 presidential election in a CBC News interview to be aired Sunday. Does that seem familiar? The former Secretary of State who lost to President Trump offered a scathing assessment of the president's 2016 win and the latest allegations that he tried to obtain incriminating information from a foreign government about Joe Biden, a possible 2020 opponent, according to experts released by CBS from a wide-ranging pre-taped interview for its Sunday morning show. Clinton was asked whether it angers her that none of the current Democratic candidates invoke her on the campaign trail, while Trump's rally crowds still breaking out into lock her up chants. No, it doesn't kill me because I know he's an illegitimate president, she said. I believe he understands that many varying tactics they've used, from voter suppression and voter purging to hacking to the false stories. He knows that. They were just a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out like it did. Now, it seems like she's doing exactly what Trump did in 2020. Yeah, 2020. He's calling it illegitimate, saying that he is not the true president, and basically complaining about it, just like Trump's doing about the 2020 thing. And I mean, it is completely incredible that they go ahead and call Trump a fascist and do all these things, but they are the ones doing it as well. They do not see the mirror in the wall. I think this isn't going to hurt Donald Trump in the primary election. Again, he's leading double digits from Ron DeSantis. I believe now it's like 19-20%. I mean, it is going to maybe hurt him in the general election. I really cannot predict that, since you have Biden, who's likely going to be the primary nomination, and he's just very incompetent. I mean, there was a video of him from this past weekend where he was talking to the Israeli president, and he's like talking, but that's all he's doing. And I mean, who are the moderates and the people in the middle who are going to vote for Donald Trump, who is accused of doing X, Y, and Z, or a president who has half a brain? I mean, I truly don't know what's going to happen in 2024. It's really up for grabs right now. Next, we have Andrew Tate. I'm sure everybody knows who he is, as he was the most Googled man on Earth for some time. Ben Shapiro had a great take on Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate has the diagnosis of a problem, and it's completely spot on his take on that. But his prognosis is absolutely horrible. A good example is, he preaches masculinity to men who must have law and order to avoid a chaotic life. He says that the type of woman to date, he says not to masturbate or watch porn, not to waste time on video games or pointless things in life, and give your life a meaning and do something very powerful. Now, these are good rules to live by. Look at America 20, 30 years ago. Men should be the protector, the defender, and the provider of your family. This is stuff that has been true all the way to the time. It has been true throughout the entire history up until about 5-6 years ago. And what people have always been saying is men and women are not equal. They are different. They complement each other. They fill in the gaps between each other. And that's why two must become one. And this is and then the left hates this narrative. They say you have toxic masculinity if you say these things, if you basically agree with the conservative gender roles of both man and woman. But there is a reason why families have used this formula and became super successful. So with the left convincing young men that their masculinity is bad and they should be more emotional and feminine, it then suppresses all of their masculine urges, and then they explode and become a wreck and basically a menace to society. And you kind of get people like Andrew Tate, right? You have people who are going to say, yeah, the feminist movement is not right, and then to counteract that, I'm going to sleep with a bunch of women and do a bunch of things like that. No, that is not true. And what should be true is, this is exactly why I promote Judeo-Christian values so much. It tells you you don't need money, you don't need expensive things, and you don't need a bunch of girls. In life, find one person for you that shares the same beliefs and is willing to build and help you and sacrifice their lives for one another. And this is why in the Bible it says in marriage that two people become one, and that's the whole point of life. It is to have kids together, raise a family, build on those relationships, and then you'll have a happy and lived a fulfilled life. So Andrew Tate, he's almost there. I say if we convert him into a Christian, we'll have him completely sane. Lastly, the state we all love the most, California. So recently, a state assembly member is speaking out against race-based criminal sentencing. So California has received widespread attention over its consideration of a multi-billion-dollar reparations package that could exceed the state's annual budget, but a lesser-known plan to rectify racial biases, threatens to change the way the Golden State approaches criminal sentencing by mandating that race is taken into account. California Assembly Bill 852, which was introduced by Assemblyman and Reparations Task Force member Reginald Jones Sawyer, seeks to put race at the forefront of the criminal sentencing process by amending the penal code. The bill passed in the Assembly in May by a vote to 58 to 13 with 9 abstentions. The two concluding lines of the bill summary read, "The bill would state the intent of legislator to rectify racial bias as specified. The bill would require courts, whenever they have discretion to determine a sentence, to consider the disparate impact on historically disfranchised and systemic impacted populations." The bill itself is extremely short, as at just 2 sentences, it is intent of the legislature to rectify the racial bias and has historical permitted our criminal justice system as documented by California Task Force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans, AB 852 reads. And California Assemblyman Bill Siley, who represents a district in the Inland Empire that spans from Riverside to Lake Eleanor, has been the bill's most vocal opponent. Lady Justice is blind. Asking her to take off her blindfold to look at someone's race, I think, is wrong. I believe it is unconstitutional. He said in his speech on the floor of the California Assembly, "I do not believe that skin color should be considered in sentencing." And I mean, this is absolutely true. It is. The whole point of Lady Justice is that she is blind and the law is equal, don't matter of the race, age, gender, anything. The only thing that matters is what you did or what you're accused of and what the law says. That's all that should be taken into account when sentencing. This is completely idiotic. This is something that, I mean, California is becoming a law state. We need to take action now because stuff like this gets passed through and it's going to completely corrupt our state. They're essentially saying that if you're black, you're going to be reduced. You're going to have a reduced sentence compared to if you're a white, Hispanic, or Asian. And I mean, this is absolutely insane. I mean, imagine if the roles were reversed just for 1 second. Imagine if white people had reduced sentencing because they were white. It is absolutely incredible on how much of a downward spiral California is going down. And I'm telling you guys, we are going to have to take action in 2024. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Just leave a like, comment, and share. And I'll go ahead and see you guys tomorrow.